We're celebrating 100 years of collecting art in New Orleans and giving it to the New Orleans Museum of Art so the whole city can share in this wonderful resource. This exhibition celebrates 27 collectors over 100 years who really made an important difference in the development of the collection. Maybe starting us in a whole new area like Japanese art or photography, or elevating by their gift an area that we already had a few things in, like Chinese art.
It highlights a history of collecting. It highlights the history of the museum, which is celebrating its 100th anniversary. And it also brings to the fore the permanent collection in a way that doesn't always happen. Permanent collection often is the background against which special exhibitions are placed. And for a museum of this caliber and for a collection of this distinction, it's important for people to see the permanent collection. The exhibition focuses on several collectors who have made an important difference in the life of the institution during the course of its 100 years. The collectors, collecting is an intensely personal enterprise, and at the same time, it is a public one. And for collectors who choose to make that collecting public, it represents an enormous gift to the city and to the citizens of New Orleans and to virtually anyone who visits the museum. Are inspired or were inspired by the museum and by their own affinities or connections to certain types of collections. So what they have done in their own personal collecting lives is to create this body of work that they have decided to share with a larger public and that they have made available to the people of New Orleans and anyone who visits the city.
Every great city has to have a great art museum to show not only the treasures of the world, but to provide a venue to show the works that are being made in its city. And you know, New Orleans has a lot of great artists. So this museum has always supported the artists of New Orleans first, but we also have a great collection of world art from all over the world for many 4,000 years. And it's important also as a cultural attraction. And we know from exhibits like King Tut that a museum can attract really hundreds of thousands of visitors to a city. So that's why our museum is especially important to New Orleans.
As you know, the excitement revolves around not only the exhibition, but the fact that the New Orleans Museum of Art begins its year-long centennial celebration this weekend. Many people remember their museum's history by their special exhibitions. NOMA certainly has a rich history of special exhibitions, which many of you will remember, including Femme, 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 Degas New Orleans, and the memorable Treasures of Tutankhamun. But it's the permanent collections that are the real treasures of any museum, on view for the public at any time, whenever they decide to come to the museum. When the Isaac Delgado Museum of Art opened in 1911, it owned just 11 works of art. Today, we thank our collectors, our donors, and especially our Director Emeritus, John Bullard, all of whom have brought our permanent collection to world-class distinction. And today we celebrate a collection numbering over 35,000 works of art. This exhibition that we stand in here today, Great Collectors, Great Donors, The Making of the New Orleans Museum of Art, 1910 to 2010, examines the pivotal role of our private collectors, not only in growing our permanent collection, but shaping the character of the collection and focusing on specific areas of art that have become known as the true strengths of the New Orleans Museum.
What's interesting is, although we've taken down a number of beautiful works from these 27 collectors, if you walk through the galleries on the first, second, and third floors, you'll still see many other works that they've given. This is just a sort of sampling of the type of works they've given. And in some cases, some of these collectors have given us other works. For instance, the Sheldons have given us a wonderful group of silver by the Gorham Company, Martelet line of silver. But they've also given us some beautiful French paintings and American paintings as well. But in this exhibit, we were focusing on the aspect of their collection which was transformative for our museum. As part of the education component, Susan came up with a great idea to do an interview with a number of the donors, collectors, Unfortunately, it's not ready because we did our final interview yesterday with Mimi. It will be edited and put in place in the middle of the gallery on view when the show opens Saturday night. So that's a video that was made for us by the New Orleans documentary filmmaker Kevin McCaffrey. So with that, I think I've touched about everything. So this, in a way, is a prequel, this exhibition, a prequel to the centennial. The museum was founded in 1910. We officially opened in December of 1911. And so this is, we have two bookend exhibitions. The Great Collectors, Great Donors examined our first 100 years, and then the staff and the trustees are working to secure 100 new works of art for our next 100 years.
You know, from the beginning of time, humans have always reached out to create beauty because beauty edifies the soul, it ennobles us, it makes us better. It helps remind us where we came from and to what we should aspire to when things get dark. It is an anchor for us. And of course, this incredible museum has been a vessel through which the greatest pieces of art that we can find can be housed and cradled so that the people of New Orleans and the people of the world can come and understand what it is that we in New Orleans are about. On top of that, it also is a huge creator of jobs. It is something that is taken for granted across the world. What is the economic impact and economic development of art, music, historic preservation, architecture, etc. We always think about it from the front of the house side. How many people actually are going to walk in the door to see what we've seen from the tourist perspective? But it helps feed and it helps clothe individuals who actually create the art, create the music. And in Louisiana alone, this rich state that relies on its culture, it produces 144,000 jobs. And so when we present ourselves to policy-making individuals, we come from a position of strength. We don't come from a position of weakness. We talk about jobs just like the oil and gas industry talks about jobs, just like the biotech industry talks about jobs. And so what I like to say is culture is the whole package. And of course, it does something very special in creating a place that people like to come and not just visit, but to live as well. And of course, NOMA, for 100 years, has been the center and the anchor of this community. We can't imagine being without it. And so on behalf of the people of the city of New Orleans, I come and give great congratulations and look forward to the next 500 years as we get better than we were in our first 100. God bless you all, and thank you so much.
I would hope that people who come to the museum and see this realize that the real opportunity for a museum is the opportunity to see a collection and to live with a collection and experience a collection time and again. And it's an opportunity that is always there, and people, I hope, will understand that having a collection like this transcends the special exhibition or the one moment project. It really is about a continuum of study and of art.